window opens and Adam Schefter is ready to roll. He's out there with McAfee and company, and he's got the very latest for us. So, Schefter, let us start with the first name that, is on everybody's list, and that is the quarterback market. What are we looking at starting today?
Well, Granny, here's the thing. While there is going to be a flurry of activity starting at noon today, where we're going to see players changing teams and agreements being reached, we are not going to see anything with Kyler Murray until 4 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday at the earliest. He cannot be released officially until then. He cannot start talking to teams. Well, actually, he's allowed to talk to teams because they've announced that he's being released. So he's allowed to talk to teams, but he cannot get a deal done with another team until after he's released at 4 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. So while there is going to be a lot of activity today, it is not going to involve Kyler Murray. That's a name we could put on hold and table until Wednesday.
Does that mean that we put the entire quarterback conversation on hold? Because there are other names, not all household names, but other quarterbacks and teams that need them. But does that mean that we will all, or these teams will, for the most part, sit tight and wait to see what happens with Murray before we start seeing movement on names like Geno Smith and whoever else winds up going?
Well, here's the thing. I think we'll see Malik Willis choose a team today, and I would think that would be the first big quarterback domino to drop. Malik Willis is free. He is an unrestricted free agent. He is regarded as the top free agent quarterback available, and so I do think that Malik Willis, in all probability, would have a new home today. Kyler Murray can't be till Wednesday. Geno Smith is out there. The Raiders have moved on from him as well. Now, the thing that's interesting about Geno Smith and Kyler Murray as it pertains to a player like Malik Willis is they're probably going to make the veteran minimum, $1.3, $1.4 million, because their other teams owe them money. And so that makes them very attractive to certain teams. But obviously people will want an answer on Kyler Murray. But I don't think that Kyler Murray impacts where Malik Willis is going to wind up today.
Fair enough. So that's the one quarterback we expect to hear some resolution on as soon as today. Next, we go to the wide receiver market, which is an interesting one. I'm hearing Alec Pierce's name all over the place, but a lot of it will sort of spin off of what happens with A.J. Brown. I've been asking you this for a week and change now. Where are we with Brown as we finally arrive at this day?
I think we're at something of a critical juncture to where if the Eagles want to be even more involved, they're going to want clarity on A.J. Brown. If the free agent market's opening today, you'd like to figure out whether or not you're keeping A.J. Brown. There have been conversations with teams. Everybody's heard about New England. I think there are another couple of teams lurking out there in the background. And again, it would have to make sense for the Eagles. They've been on that stance all along to move A.J. Brown. I think we're entering here a critical juncture. Again, they could opt to hold on to him and not move him till before or after the draft. That's certainly within the realm of options here. But there's a window here. A window today, tomorrow, that if they want to jump into this free agent pool and they want to find replacements that way and they want to impact their roster, then you would try to have an A.J. Brown deal done today.
I like it when you look down at your phone. If at any point you look down at your phone and you have something you need to tell me, by all means, feel free to tell me. Let me finish it up with that Max Crosby. You reported it Friday night. Max Crosby moving to the AFC North to play for the Ravens. Feels to me like that means, as far as the pass rushers are concerned, all eyes on Trey Hendrickson now?
Well, yes, but Max Crosby was in a separate bucket all along, and that was the headline move of the weekend, and I would think, barring an A.J. Brown move, will probably be the big move of free agency. We've only seen a certain number of players traded for 2 first-round picks. Max Crosby was one. That brings us to Trey Hendrickson today. He is a free agent. He is allowed to go pick his team. This is what he has wanted from Cincinnati. The two sides have been through so much together in recent years. This is the opportunity that Trey Hendrickson wanted. And if you're looking for a veteran pass rusher, there's your guy. He's there to be had. You don't have to give up any picks to the Cincinnati Bengals. You can go sign Trey Hendrickson. Again, I think people have wondered, would the Dallas Cowboys look and be interested in Trey Hendrickson? I think Trey Hendrickson wants to be out there, and he's looking for a strong deal wherever that deal comes. And we'll see today where that winds up. One team that's been floated out there, right or wrong, Indianapolis, where we are today. Lou Anarumo, his former defensive coordinator, the Colts defense coordinator. We'll see if the Colts can find the funds for a player like Trey Hendrickson.
All right, Schefter, I'm putting you right. I'm standby. We'll be with you anytime anything happens. Just raise your hand and we're coming live right to you. Meanwhile, I'm going to bring the rest of my football crew in here. Again, I've got J-Mac and Graz with me in studio as I tell you that Max Crosby, and you've seen this already by now, Friday the acquisition was made. When they woke up that morning, the Ravens were 11-1 to win the Super Bowl, according to DraftKings Sportsbook. They're now at plus 950, tied for the Bills with the shortest odds in the AFC. So I was saying, Graziano and J-Mac are here. Orlovsky and Traeger are there. Also in Indy, again, the big special today at noon with McAfee and his team when the window officially opens. What can you tell us about the deal that brings Crosby to the Ravens? What are people saying as the weekend has gone on?
Well, it's surprising from the standpoint of Baltimore because they've never given up a first-round pick for a veteran player before, and they break that streak by giving up two. So obviously an out-of-character move shows a level of urgency on the part of Baltimore right now, and they had to outbid some teams. The Cowboys were there with a very strong offer at the end. Ultimately, the Raiders selected Baltimore's offer. It's a pivot, obviously, for the Raiders, who now need to use these picks that they're getting back to build out their franchise around, presumably, Fernando Mendoza once they take him first overall in next year's draft. And it was too good a return to pass up for a player that had kind of had a falling out with the organization, remember, at the end of last year when they put him on IR and he felt like he was healthy enough to play.
Yes, and Traeger, look, I've been saying all along, Max Crosby is a great player. You could finish with the worst record in the NFL with him or without him. You're much better off doing it without him and starting to rebuild your team. What is your take on the Ravens? Let's look at this from their standpoint. DraftKings says now they're the favorites. What do you think of this acquisition?
They're all in, and they have to be now. They've never traded a first-round pick as long as Eric DaCosta was in the organization. 31 years. They trade not only one, but two, and they go and get Crosby, who is a 29-year-old coming off what is a serious injury. We'll see if he's going to be healthy enough to play. Of course, he's expecting to. Question is this. Was this Harbaugh now? They're ripping the Band-Aid off. They hire not only a young head coach in Jesse Minter, now they hire a 29-year-old in Declan Doyle. They go and make a big swing with Max Crosby. And, of course, now you're looking for an extension for Lamar Jackson. I love this from Baltimore in that they're putting all their chips in the middle of the table. But as Dan just said, this wasn't as clean of a deal. There were no other teams that were throwing first-round picks at the Raiders. This was a Ravens-specific offer. It was the best offer they got, and that's the offer they made. And, oh, by the way, my background's good, but Schefter's looks like he's Ted Koppel over there on Nightline. It was unbelievable what they got going.
Either that or we have major weather stories going on across the country, and Schefter will be following them all morning long. Orlovsky, does this make the Ravens the best team in the AFC?
Yeah, oh yeah, this is the best roster in the AFC, certainly. And we're talking about Kyle Hamilton, Max Crosby, Roquan Smith, let alone Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. It's a pretty good five-piece. It's upping the ante. It's upping the ante of pressure and expectation at a place that is about as high as anybody in the NFL. This is also desperation, but rightfully so. This is a team that had 10 sacks, Baltimore, from their edge players last year. 10. That was worst in the NFL. This is this year's or this generation's version in Baltimore of Terrell Suggs. It's now the guy that on the field is one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL, and off the field, he just fits Baltimore. When we were growing up playing against Baltimore, me and J-Mac, it was you don't want to play that nasty defense. This is now bringing that nasty edge back to Baltimore, all in, absolutely, and it ups the ante pressure-wise on Lamar Jackson.
To what Dan was saying, I've played against that team. I've called games in that stadium, and when you walk around, you see all type of signs. Play like a Raven. Max Crosby is the definition of that. Yeah. Play like a Raven. So I think to what everybody's saying, the desperation, them really trying to go for it all. You bring this guy, Max Crosby, over there. Jesse Minter is year one as a head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, his first opportunity as a head coach, and already we're talking about them as Super Bowl favorites in the AFC. This is a ton of pressure to try to do all of this and your first time out at it. But I think what Max Crosby brings is just a little bit different. We watched what Micah Parsons did for that Packers defense last year. When he gets there, every single player on that defense becomes a better player. Some guys will get paid and play in Pro Bowls off of a guy like Max Crosby.
Is this the slam dunk home run, which I know is mixing metaphors in sports, that everyone suggests it is? We have some voices that are going to say it's not, and we're going to get to those next. We're just getting started. We just scraped the surface on this Max Crosby situation. We're going to dive much more deeply into it as we we continue in just a moment. Graziano has plenty to say. The Cowboys tried but failed to get Max Crosby, so where does that leave them? Should they go after Trey Hendrickson? What about the Bears? We're going to dive into all of that as we continue next. The Max Crosby story taking center stage here. And then we will get to the NBA with our crew. It's Tatum's time in a Boston beatdown in Cleveland as he somehow exceeded expectations in his return. We are just getting started. You're watching Get Up on ESPN.